Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and today I am joined with Nicky Snacks over here on the Zoom call right now. And today we're going to be talking about guys that you're going to want to be targeting in your startup draft. These are guys that I really like for dynasty purposes, and that I think that a lot of people may be off of. So welcome into Snacks, a second time being on the channel. He deserves an award as well, two-time guest. And we're just going to get right into this. Now, Snacks, obviously, your Twitter will be down in the description and everything for you so that everyone can go follow you. But we're going to get right into it. Now, me and Snacks are both going to give our opinions on these players. Either I can go first or Snacks can go first. It doesn't really matter. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Either way. No, rip it off. You got it, Nicky.
All right, I'll go first. My first guy here is Calvin Ridley. Now, I know last year he only played in a couple of games. He only played in 13 games. He was dealing with that injury. That's the first time he's been hurt in his career. Now, I'm just going to rattle off some quick stats here. He had an 80% snap share in 2019, 10% in the slot. He had 93 targets, which is about 7 per game in 2019, 63 receptions, which is 4.8 per game. He had 886 receiving yards, which is 66.6 per game. 7 total touchdowns. He had 15.2 points per game in PPR in 2019, and that is up from having 12.9 points per game in 2019. What are your thoughts on Calvin Ridley?
Well, my thoughts on you reading those stats was unbelievable. That came out so perfectly. It was great. I love Calvin Ridley. Even when we were doing Fade the Public last summer, he was a guy I kept talking about after his incredible rookie year. Playing opposite of Julio. The guy is extremely talented, and he's not getting the attention that defenses are giving Julio, so that would free him up. Now, maybe it was a step down from his year 2 years ago, but his trajectory is going to be very good. I'm a big fan. I actually drafted him on my Dynasty team that we did with Fade the Public and all, but I wound up trading him in a rebuild. I got some picks. I got some other guys. Truthfully, I hope Scott doesn't watch this. I regret it because I love Calvin Ridley. I think he's an absolute stud, and I think he's going to be a stud for a really long time. So he's definitely a guy I'm targeting high, and a guy that people probably don't really think to look at because Atlanta's got Julio and all those other things, but he's a gem. So yeah. I'm very high on Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones, I don't know how long Julio Jones could play more. He's getting up there in age, but over the next couple of years, I feel like they're going to be like more of a 1A, 1B type of situation where Calvin Ridley isn't necessarily the number 2 guy there, where he's getting a lot of targets. I think Matt Ryan will probably be playing for a couple more years. He's not super old yet. So I think that Calvin Ridley will be producing for the next couple of years, and that's obviously what you're looking for in dynasty leagues now.
100% agreed. I would say that Matt Ryan has probably 3, 4, maybe 5 good years left, especially the way the league is going. So he's never had injury concerns, so that's not an issue. Julio's probably still going to beast it for a couple more years, but even so, it doesn't matter. He's going to be double teamed. That opens up Calvin Ridley. So definitely a big fan of Calvin.
Yeah, exactly. Julio Jones isn't even a big touchdown guy. It seems like his touchdowns have been regressing, and Calvin Ridley actually scored 7 touchdowns last year. So I think he could still be there again this year around the 7 to 10 touchdown rate in 2020. So I really like Calvin Ridley, definitely for now and the future. I think even this year in redraft, he will be a guy that a lot of people are targeting.
Yep, 100%. I will be one of those guys.
Okay. All right, now you can go. Who's your guy?
So if we can talk about Hunter Renfrow, one of my favorite college football players ever, and now one of my favorite football players in the NFL now, let's talk about him. What do you got stat-wise?
All right, stats-wise for Calvin Ridley, in 2019, he only played in 13 games. He had a 54.2% snap share in 2019. 66.8% of those were played in the slot. He had 49 targets, which is about 3.5 per game. He had 605 receiving yards, which is over 46.5 receiving yards per game. 4 total touchdowns in 2019 at an 8.2% rate. 10.3 points per game in PPR. And he finished strong over the last 2 weeks of the season. He had over 2 20-point-per-game performances. What do you think?
God, I'm thinking that you need a career in reading off stats. The way you read it is unbelievable. But Renfro's a beast, man. And I think he's exactly what a John Gruden looks for in a wide receiver type. He's tough as nails. He runs good routes, gets open. Does he have a little bit of Julian Edelman? Yeah. He's got a little Edelman in him. That's who I see when I watch him play. And I think him and Carr had some great chemistry. That's one thing that would make me worry a little bit is Oakland's quarterback situation. Whether it's Carr, whether it's Brady for this year if he comes, if they trade up and draft a Herbert. Either way, I think he's a very good player. He's somebody you target later on. You're going to see production, especially in a PPR league. I think he turns out to be one of those guys that's going to catch 8 balls a game, 90 yards. If he scores a touchdown, great. He's not going to be your wide receiver 1, obviously, but he's definitely a very good depth guy, a guy you would love to have in your lineup. So I'm a big Hunter Renfrow fan.
Yeah, as am I. I honestly think that Tyrell Williams obviously is a good talent, but it seems like Hunter Renfrow is Carr's go-to guy. Like you said, Carr may be gone, but I honestly think they do bring him back potentially. I don't know. I was listening to some shit the coaches talking. I know a lot of people on the comment section will get pissed off because you called them the Oakland Raiders, and now they're the Las Vegas Raiders. So you kind of fucked that up there, Snacks, but it's okay.
Sorry, everybody. Jesus.
Yeah. It's okay. But I do really love Hunter Renfrow for the future. Even though he looks like he is old as fuck, that guy literally looks like he's like 35 years old.
He literally does look like he's old as fuck.
But he's a rookie. I might be able to put a picture of him on the board. He looks like an old man. When he was on Clemson, he still looked like an old man. So he's definitely a very good target for this year. I think that the Raiders are definitely better next year. You can't be much worse than they were last year. They were not that good, but I think that as the years go on, they will be much better. They play in a division that does not really have ultra strong defenses. I know maybe that'll get Max mad, but it's okay.
Well, you're right. So Max can't really get too mad. Denver's defenses.
Yeah, Denver's defenses and the Raiders' defenses, and all of them are just about in that division. I think that Hunter Renfrow is definitely a super young guy too, which is something you definitely want in Dynasty. You're not even going to have to pay any type of big price at all for him. Right. He's a guy that goes super late, like in like the 10th to 15th round. You could easily find, and is a guy that's going to be off of so many people's radar because they probably might not even have an idea who he is. He only played in 13 games last year, so he didn't have a super big season where he had like 100 targets or anything. He was only at 49 targets, but I do think that he's a guy that could hit 1,000 yards. He only scored 4 touchdowns last year. He could be up there 6, 8. Obviously, it's impossible to figure out how many touchdowns a guy's going to score, but I think that
you can kind of give a trajectory towards what he's going to get and what he was on, without missing the games. Is I like that 6 to 8. That's probably ceiling wise, which is fine. Like I said, you're not drafting him to be wide receiver 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's a very good flex play, a very good wide receiver 3 type of guy who's going to get you the catches, going to get you the yards, the tough yards that you want, and kid's a baller. You root for guys like that. You want guys like that on your team. So, Hunter,
definitely.
Salute.
I love guys that are slot guys for like a flex type of option in fantasy because those are guys that are going to be getting a lot of targets. Like I said, he was getting about 3.8 per game, but I think that that's going to obviously go up because some of those first games he was playing, he wasn't a guy that was the number 1 or number 2 guy on the team. So he started to get looks later in the season as he was getting much better. Now,
he's getting more acclimated with the offense and also. Sorry.
Yeah. Definitely. No, that's okay. Him and Gruden are probably best friends. Now, the next
100%.
They both look pretty weird. Now, Marlon Mack is the next guy we are going to be talking about here. Now, Marlon Mack is a guy that last year in redraft leagues, everyone was sucking Marlon Mack off. They thought Marlon Mack was going to be one of the top tier guys, and he was just about okay. Marlon Mack is one of those guys that is never once going to be a guy who catches more than 15 passes. He's like Derrick Henry.
That's not his game. Right.
He's like Derrick Henry, but worse. Like, that's just how he is. But at the end of the day, he's a guy that's going to put in 13 games a season. He plays like 13 games a season. I think he's a great option. I'm going to read off some stats here. He played 14 games in 2019, a 55.5% snap share in 2019, which is number 22 snap share for a running back, 62.9% opportunity share at number 17 at the running back position. Team run plays per game, they were number 5 overall in the NFL. 247 carries, which is about 17 per game, which ranks 9 at the running back position. Over 1,000 rush yards, 77 per game. 17 targets, which sucks. 14 receptions, which sucks, 82 receiving yards, which is awful, but he had 13 PPR points per game in 2019. When you draft Marlon Mack, you're not looking for some guy who has any type of hands. I wouldn't be surprised if he caught the ball 5 times next year. It wouldn't really surprise me because they just have so many backs on that team. They have guys like Wilkins. I'm not sure if he'll be back, but all these pass-catching backs that are just in the backfield that are there to steal any opportunity he has, but he has like no hands at all. He's feet for hands, so it doesn't even really matter.
Literally. Yeah, literally. He's an interesting case because, like you said in the beginning, People were riding his nuts before the season, redraft, everything. And I guess I shouldn't say but everything changed when Luck retired. Everything. Everybody took a hit. Marlon Mack has the talent. They got the offensive line. But to me, and this is pure like gut feeling. A lot of my fantasy stuff goes on gut and goes on my eye test and stuff like that.
Me too.
It's just like a thing. I'm not in love with Marlon Mack. I never was. Still am not. It's kind of like another guy we might talk about later, Austin Eckler. But I understand why people love Mack. I understand his situation and whatnot. But in today's day and age, if my running back is not catching the ball out of the backfield, unless you're like Zeke Elliott, who I guess had a better receiving year this year, Zeke or Henry, like I'm not infatuated with you. You know what I mean? It's not. Yeah. He's not the overly dominant running back that you can expect to have without catching the ball. So I just, if he falls to me in a later round, yeah, but I'm not head over heels jumping for joy trying to get Marlon Mack. So.
Yeah, definitely. And all the mocks I was doing with Scott and stuff, he was falling super far in the draft. Yeah. He was like a 6th, 7th round pick. So at that point, it's like he's definitely worth the value, and he's a guy I'd would want there. But at last year's value, probably where he would go into Dynasty League, you were probably embarrassed that you even owned the guy.
Right, exactly. And that's what I was trying to say. Like, if he's falling back 6th, 7th round, like you said, in those mocks, yeah, I'm going to take him. Because the talent we know is there. The offensive line we know is there. He's, outside of T.Y. right now, the only weapon Indy's offense has. So I would take him there, but I'm not going above and beyond and doing everything in my power to acquire Marlon Mack.
Now, reports out of the combine are that it seems like Rivers may go to the Colts. A lot of players are saying that. Do you think that makes Mack better, or do you think he's just about the same as with Brissett?
I would probably – it's tough. I would say it's better because I still think Philip Rivers is a lot better than Jacoby Brissett. I
completely agree.
So it probably opens up Indy's pass game a little bit more, and they don't have to rely on – or defenses don't have to stack the box. So I would say that definitely helps. But we'll see. I said it, what, 2 months ago maybe, that Rivers to Indianapolis is the easiest case. That's like the perfect fit. So
definitely. I could definitely see that happening.
I would say it helps. It helps Mack.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that Mack, if he ever somehow magically they decide to throw him the ball 50 times, he'd be much better, but they're never going to do that.
He'd be a top 14 pick if they threw him the ball 50 times. So.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that he definitely has some talent. He's also very young. That's also something. I believe he is 23 years old, maybe 24 to begin the season. So
yeah, he is very young. He is very young, yeah. And his workload isn't egregious, so he's definitely got a lot of miles still left on that body.
Yeah, and he's only getting like 55% of the snaps, so he's never going to completely be out there all the time. Now, like I said at the beginning, he has actually been hurt the last 2 years. He has missed like 2 or 3 games every year, but you're not really that pissed off if you draft a guy in the 6th round. He misses 2 games.
No, you can't be. Exactly. It's almost to be expected.
All right, now let's move on to the next guy. Snacks. Who do we got next?
All right. I guess I'm forced to talk about him. I don't want to.
It's okay.
Let's talk about Sam Darnold. Let's talk about Sam Darnold.
Okay. Now
I don't want to. Just know that I don't want to.
Yeah, I know. But
you're a Giants fan. Okay. I'm going to. But I think we got some interesting points to talk about him. So let's rip it. Sammy Darnold, great hair.
Gorgeous.
Anybody with red hair, they great hair. Just great hair. So, take it away.
Okay, so some stats for Sammy Boy Mono. Now, he only played 13 games, obviously. 100% chance he gets mono. He's got that. Now, he had 441 pass attempts in 2019, which is about 33 per game, which ranks 25th in the NFL, so not super hot for Sammy Mono. Passing yards, 3,024, 232.6 passing yards per game, which ranks 25th in the NFL. Again, not looking too hot. 11 money throws. Obviously, money throws, it just sounds super cool. It's pretty much making an athletic play, ranking 24th in the NFL. Not a very athletic guy, Sam Darnold is, according to Fantasy Football Profilers, what I believe the website was called. 19 passing touchdowns, 4.3% rate, 24th in the NFL, 13 INTs, and he had 22 interceptable passes, which is number 13 in the NFL. He finished QB number 27. Now, the only reason why I brought him up is because I think he's just going to be safe for a bunch of years. I don't think he'll ever be good or amazing. 14.6 points per game in 4-point per passing touchdowns leagues. I'm not sure how many people play in 6-point per passing touchdown leagues, but that's just what I got.
And again, I think I might comment every time you read a stat because there's got to be career in this. You don't stutter. You don't do it. It's like that good. But Darnold he's the quarterback I wanted the Giants to draft at number 2 overall 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I think it was just me wanting a quarterback, me thinking Darnold was the best of the crew. Either way, I think what you said was he'll be safe, and I think that's exactly what he'll be. At least as long as Adam Gase is the coach, mm-hmm. I don't see him taking that leap to superstardom that so many people think he's going to take. He does not have very good weapons around him. His mm-hmm. offensive line is terrible. So until they fix both, what really can you expect from him outside of maybe a slight improvement this next year? Mm-hmm. Gase just running that offense into the ground. He is so bad. Like, legitimate. As a Dolphin fan, how bad Adam Gase is.
He's garbage.
He's terrible. Mm-hmm. Like, how they could ever think that Adam Gase was the right guy to coach Sam Darnold, their franchise, their 21-year-old quarterback, their future, mm-hmm. is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling.
Yeah. It makes literally zero sense. Now, I think that the offense will probably look better next year. I mean, how could it look any worse than it looked last year?
Exactly.
I mean, the thing with Darnold, they're also getting probably rid of Robbie Anderson. But what happens in the draft? Do they draft a guy that is a great wide receiver potentially out of college? And the only thing that really worries me about Sam Darnold, like you said, is Adam Gase. That guy is a certified fucking idiot. I can't stand the guy. He literally might be one of the worst coaches I've ever seen in the NFL. He completely stunted the growth of Sam Darnold, who, if they brought in any other coach, I assume Darnold would be a guy that maybe instead of being quarterback 27, he's quarterback 18.
Right. No, 100%. There's probably a big leap. And you think about the funniest thing with Adam Gase to me is look at Ryan Tannehill, mm-hmm. how good he did in Tennessee without Adam Gase. Look at Kenyon Drake. Look at Devontae Parker. All these guys excelled when he was gone. Mm-hmm. So that right there is a testament to what a shitbag coach he is. Like, exactly. He's that fucking bad. So I feel for Darnold in that case. And, I mean, we'll see. You're right. I think if I'm the Jets, I draft offensive tackle first round at mm-hmm. 11 or 12, wherever they pick. But it's going to be hard to be mad at them if they draft like a Jerry Jeudy or a CeeDee Lamb or somebody at wide receiver there. So I think the offensive personnel is going to be very key in how we evaluate Darnold for the next year, with the Gase red flag. So he's a guy I'm not jumping for joy about, but I can understand why Dynasty owners would want to get on board with Sammy Darnold.
Yeah, definitely like in a super flex league. Like if he's like your third,
especially super flex,
guy you just throw in, like he's so fucking safe. I mean, if we're talking about like a regular Dynasty league, then if Sammy Mono's going to be riding your bench, but I mean, like he's like, okay. Like the reason why I put him on here is just due to the consistency. Like I say, he's just very safe. Like I don't see the Jets bringing anyone in for the next couple of years. Like if they fire Gaze, then there's no way they get rid of him because then they'll be like, oh, maybe the new coach can fix it.
Right. That's exactly what's going to happen. And if the Jets don't make the playoffs, or if they don't go like 8-8, 9-7, just miss the playoffs, he's gone. Now, how do you keep this guy?
Yeah,
They were talking about firing him after 1 year, and then they won a few games at the end of the year. So that's just nonsense. They got to get Gates out of the building and hire somebody.
Yeah. Do you think Le'Veon is back this season?
No, I think he's shot.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's that good anymore either. But
like he's. One, I think he's just maybe shot. Two, during the offseason on Fade the Puck, we were talking about it when he went to the Jets. Adam Gase doesn't know how to use running backs, especially one of Le'Veon's skill set. He's best out of the backfield catching passes, all this stuff. Gase didn't do that for him. Mm-hmm. So if you're not going to give a running back, you're not going to play to his strengths, don't expect him to be Walter Payton running up the middle in between the tackles 25 times a game. It's just not going to work. So until I see anything differently, I'm not going anywhere near Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Le'Veon Bell is also getting up there in age. Is he even as good as he used to be? Maybe if he's not in the Jets, maybe he goes back to Pittsburgh, then maybe he's amazing. He goes to a team with a good old line.
That could be a different story.
Yeah, he goes to a team with a good old line. He could be amazing. But right now, there's just no way you could touch him on the Jets. I don't love it.
No, I don't touch him.
Yeah, I'm very off of the Jets as a whole, to be honest with you.
Yep. You and me both.
All right. Now, the next guy we're going to talk about here is Jack Doyle. Now, for the stats for Jack Doyle, he doesn't have too many hot stats. He's not like the hottest commodity ever, but that's because he's really the tight end 2 on the team. But likely, I think that Ebron is going to be out. Now, Ebron right now is an unrestricted free agent in 2020. I think Ebron gets his ass out of Indianapolis. He's probably tired of Jacoby Brissett. Unless maybe Phillip Rivers comes back, then maybe he's like, holy shit, I could catch like 20 touchdowns or something, and he stays there. But in 16 games in 2019, Jack Doyle had 7 points per game. He had a 5.1 weekly volatility rating, which is 39th at the position. So he was just going up and down, in and out. He could not find anything. 75.3% snap share in 2019, which is ranked 15 at the position. He is a great blocking tight end. So he's obviously going to be on the field for a lot of the game. So he's a guy that I'd be targeting if I was punting at the position. But if you think that Jack Doyle is going to be your only guy, if you're not going to be drafting a bunch of guys near Jack Doyle, then you're just going to feel stupid if you have to roll out Jack Doyle every single week.
Yeah, I 100% agree. If you do the no tight ends through the first 6 rounds or whatever the case is, and you're expecting Jack Doyle to be the only guy, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Excuse my French, but you're fucked. If you take Doyle to be your tight end 1, you better have at least one. I would say you better have 2 insurance policies behind him because, like you said, he's a better blocking tight end. Luck is gone, and we know Luck and Doyle had a good connection when Luck was there, but he's gone. So if Rivers does go there, we know how he likes to focus on the tight ends. Throw to the tight ends. We've seen Hunter Henry be very good for the last 3 years. That's probably a saving grace and something that can get you excited about Jack Doyle. But outside of that, he's a guy that if he's your tight end 1, he's your starting tight end, and you don't have insurance behind him, you're fucked.
Yeah, he's just
not rely on him week in and week out.
To me, he's just a guy that's you can get super late in the draft. I think has the potential to be good for maybe a year or 2. So that's why I have him on here. I think he has the potential to be very good, but he is not safe at all. Like I said, he is number 39 weekly volatility at the tight end position. So that sucks. There's 32 starting tight ends. He's number 39. He's out of there. But at the end of the day, if you can find him the correct weeks, even this season, last season, if you found him when Ebron was out, and he might just drop 15 points, 20 points, but then other games he's out there and he drops a goose egg or he drops 1 point and you're really disappointed. So I think Doyle is a guy that I would target, but he's not a guy that I would try to target in every single league. He's not a guy that I would like stamp the stamp of approval on, but I think he could be okay.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. He's probably more of a system play each week when you need a tight end in there. But outside of that, like if Luck was there, it's a different story, but he's not. So it's tough. I'd play him situationally, and I could definitely see good numbers this year, next year, like you said. But to rely on him week in and week out, tough to do. So always have a backup plan with Jack Doyle as your first tight end. Just saying.
Okay. All right, Snacks. Now we can bring up the next guy here. This guy is a guy that I really like. You can introduce him here.
Wait. Are we doing the Austin Eckler one now?
We could do Austin Eckler or Leonard Fournette, whichever one.
I'm sorry. Yep. Miss Leonard Fournette. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Leonard Fournette. We got to talk about Leonard Fournette, LSU's own.
Now, Leonard Fournette here, I'm going to bring up his stats real quick. He had, in 2019, 15 total games. He only missed 1 game, a 91.7% snap share in 2019, which is the number 2 at the running back position. I assume everyone knows who number 1 is. 90% opportunity share ranks number 2 as well. Team run plays per game. The Jacksonville Jaguars were only running 24 run plays per game, which ranks 23rd in the NFL. He had over 260 carries, 17.7 per game, which ranks 7 in the NFL. Over 1,000 rushing yards, 1,152 rushing yards at 76.8 per game, which ranks 6th in the NFL. 100 and targets, which is 6.7 per game, which ranks number 4. 76 total receptions, which is about 5 per game, which is number 5. 522 total receiving yards, which is about 34 per game, which ranks 5th. And he had 17.7 points per game in 2019. What are your thoughts on Leonard Fournette?
He's a guy that last year I was saying stay away from because I don't trust injured running backs, and he had been injured. But damn, he quietly showed us that he's still he's been in the league, 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
He is a good goddamn running back. The touchdowns were not there, but for me, that's a reason to even like him more going forward because I don't see that the regression with touchdowns is not coming down. You know what I mean? It's only going to go up. So if he stays on the path that he was at with the over 1,000 yards, with the carries per game, he's going to start scoring touchdowns. I think the Jaguars get back to that running game. They find their identity. He's their best player. When healthy, he is their best player. So giving him the ball makes all the sense in the world. That's how they won football games 2 years ago, 3 years ago when they were in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
That's how it worked. He's their bread and butter on offense. And I think his touchdowns go up, which only elevates his fantasy value. I will always question his injury history, always will. But from the perspective of he was not really injured last year at all, like you said, 15 games. If I'm taking that into account, I love Leonard Fournette. Love him.
Yeah, like you brought up.
That is a complete 360 from or 180, whatever we want to call it, from what I said last summer.
Yeah,
so
I said
this year, I love.
Yeah, I said the exact same shit last year. I didn't like him due to the injury proneness. It seemed like if it was like 2 years ago, he didn't show up to fucking picture day, and they suspend him for a game. He was fighting on the field. I believe he fought against the Bills. They had a bit of a fight on the field. Like, he's just crazy like that. But he seemed to have calmed down. 15 games. Like you said, his touchdowns were really down. He only scored 3 touchdowns last season. And what type of a running back that gets 91% of the snaps on their team is scoring 3 touchdowns? Like, literally none of them. So
None. It's almost physically impossible.
Yeah, you would have thought he would have just snuck in there one or two more times.
Right, exactly. And that's why I was saying, like, that's only going to go up. There's no way that stays the same or goes down. So
exactly. He has 91% snap share, so there's no one even really behind him getting the ball.
Right.
Like, you've seen a lot of offenses, the workhorse, it's 70-30, 80-20, 60-40. But in this thing, Leonard Fournette's getting the ball about every single fucking time. So I think that Leonard Fournette will definitely be phenomenal in 2020. But like you said, he's might be the most sneaky player ever. He got 100 targets, and I don't even think about Leonard Fournette as receiving back. Do you?
I didn't even know he could catch a ball.
Yeah, not
So, like, I had no idea that when you said that out loud, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, if he can continue to do that, dude, people are going to sleep on him, and we will reap the benefits.
Exactly.
So will everybody else listening and watching this video right now.
Yeah, he's very young, and he's a guy that's not even inside of the first round. To many people, he might just be like a beginning of the third round dynasty pick. So at that value, it's fucking juicy. I saw him going in the second round, pretty much at the end of the second, early third at every mock I've done so far for dynasty. So Leonard Fournette's a guy that I'm hammering the stamp down, and I really believe in Leonard Fournette. The dude's bald at like 23 years old, which obviously is a bit frightening, but it's okay because he is a great player. Another stat I wanted to talk about here, though, is definitely the fact that he had over 1,000 rush yards and was still getting 522 receiving yards. That is something that you see a lot of running backs not be able to do. And obviously, like I said, the opportunity share was at number 2. Obviously, number 1 is Christian McCaffrey. Everyone knows how good Christian McCaffrey is, but Leonard Fournette is just a very good running back. And if he was not on the Jacksonville Jaguars, I bet you he's even better. But since he's on the Jaguars, even with the confusing quarterback play there, is it Gardner Minshew next season? Is it Big Dick Nick Foles? Who really knows, to be honest with you? But regardless who it is, Leonard Fournette was balling out with either quarterback. They could bring in anyone to play quarterback, and he'd still play good.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's something the QB situation is something to monitor later, but like you said, I don't think it fucking matters. He's going to be a stud, and I'm probably not going to talk him up a lot because I want to make sure that I get him in all my leagues. So
okay, we'll delete this video.
No, I'm kidding. No, but definitely big time high on Leonard Fournette this year.
Definitely. He
Dynasty, redraft, everything.
Yeah, and redraft as well. I really like him. Now, the next
Yeah.
guy we're going to be talking about here is one of Snack's favorite players, I believe, based on what we were talking about before. And his name is Austin Eckler of the LA Superchargers. Do you hate him? Do you like him? I don't know.
I fucking hate him.
You hate him. Oh, my God.
Yeah. At a personal level. Personal level.
All right, so
2 years ago, I had Melvin Gordon, and I was steamrolling through the E-Town Get Down League, and Melvin Gordon got hurt, and I did have Austin Eckler. I drafted him just to have him as my handcuff, and he was thrusted into the starting running back role when Melvin Gordon was hurt, and it just so happens Melvin Gordon got hurt during playoff time. So Austin Eckler comes in and does absolutely fucking nothing.
Shout out Justin Jackson. Shout out to Justin Jackson.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shout him out.
Shout out to him.
Eckler did nothing, and I tell you right now, listen, I can be unbiased. He had a very great year this past year. He's a very good player. I won't touch him ever. I don't even want to talk about him. I fucking hate Austin Eckler. And it's personal. He's one of those guys. No, he's one of those guys where, like, if he's on my team, I'm telling you right now, it's fucking poison. My team is not going to win because he's on my team. He's one of those guys that I feel that way about.
Yeah.
I hate him.
It's like in the league when Adrian Peterson was on Pete's team and then Adrian Peterson fucked his girlfriend. That's exactly what happened to you with Austin Eckler.
That's exactly it. That is the most perfect analogy you could have thought of right in that spot, right in that moment. It's perfect. You could talk about Austin Eckler. I'll give you a quick synopsis. I think he's really good, and Melvin Gordon's probably going to be gone, so he's in a really good situation. I really like Austin Eckler. If you want him on your fantasy team, I ain't fucking touching him ever.
Okay.
Even if you paid me, ever.
Okay. All right, we're going to read some Austin Eckler stats real quick before Snacks pisses himself or something. So
I might shit myself too.
16 games in 2019, 57.1% snap share, which is 18th in the NFL, 46.0% opportunity share, 33rd in the NFL. Team run plays per game, 22.9, which is 28th in the NFL, which really doesn't matter for Austin Eckler. He had 132 carries, which is about 8 per game, 557 rushing yards, which is 34 per game, which does not rank very high at all. 108 targets, though, which is second in the NFL at the running back position. 92 total receptions, 5.8 per game, ranking number 2 in the NFL. 993 receiving yards, 62.1 per game, which is number 2, almost eclipsing 1,000 receiving yards, and 19.3 PPR points per game. And that is with a lot of the games with Melvin Gordon there. And like you said, Melvin Gordon now might be straight out of there. He might get shipped off. So you hate Austin Eckler. We don't need to talk about him for too much, but I love Austin Eckler. I think Austin Eckler will be great regardless of that fact that he screwed Snacks right in the ass, but it's okay to me. He never fucked me. Ass. I had Justin Jackson that year. He won me a Super Bowl, so it was amazing. Austin Eckler, amazing player. Christian McCaffrey 2.0.
Ooh.
That's a hot take.
That is a fucking take. That is hot.
Screamer.
Wow.
Screamer.
Wow.
Hot take. Christian McCaffrey 2.0.
Wow. But I will say, if you take my hate away from Austin Eckler and what he did to me, he's really good.
He is.
If I'm going to give my advice, my professional advice, go get Austin Eckler. That guy's a stud. He really is. And if that's his backfield solely, if Gordon's gone, untouchable. He's a beast. Yeah.
I feel like now, if you haven't drafted, you've already drafted, and someone has him. I think right now might be the best time to get him before Melvin Gordon leaves. Because if Melvin Gordon leaves, it's going to be impossible. You're going to have to pay the King's ransom.
Skyrocket. Yep.
All right. Now the next guy here, we've only talked about one quarterback so far. So the next guy is a quarterback as well. Snacks, you got him?
Yes, we have Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Snapback. All right, so I'm gonna
when
feed you.
Snapbacks were cool.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna feed you some Matthew Stafford stats right now. Now he only played in 8 games in 2019. Typically, he's one of those guys that is playing 16 games. He's one of those guys whose back is broken. He's still in there regardless. He doesn't give a fuck. But last year, I guess it was very severe. He had 291 pass attempts in 2019, which is 36.4 per game, which ranks 28th in the NFL. Passing yards, 2,499, which is 312.9 0.4 per game, which is much better than what Mono Man Sam was doing. 14 money throws, more than Mono Man Sam, and he only played in 8 games. 19 passing touchdowns, number 24 in the NFL. 5 INTs, which is very good, 19-5, and he only had 8 interceptable passes. He finished quarterback number 29, but that does not tell the whole tale of Matthew Stafford's season. If he played 16 games, just imagine how good he could have been. 20.8 points per game and 4 points per passing touchdown, and he has been around 4,000 plus passing yards per season just about his whole career. He was on a streak of like 6 years in a row with over 4,000 passing yards. So he is a guy that has been ultra consistent aside from the last 2 years where he's been dealing with that back injury. Now, do you think that he will get better? Do you think that he will be okay? Or do you think it's just going to be like the last few seasons where he's banged up?
See, it's so hard to tell because he was playing, like you say, he was playing so well before he got hurt. And with me, quarterbacks, with everybody really, once that back starts going, it's going to get tough. He's a guy that I'm not going to trust to be like my guy, my starter, my one of my 2 QBs in the Superflex. You can't trust it. That's fiscally irresponsible if you're trusting him to do that. But if he is healthy, Stafford's a fucking beast. People don't realize that. He's an absolute beast. The numbers you were reading gives you an idea of how good he is. But I think in the broader picture, the guy, I don't want to say a freak athlete because then, I don't want Max just in his pants.
He's a hashtag freak athlete. We got it.
He is. He really is. I'm a big Matthew Stafford fan. I always have been. He's been my quarterback on numerous fantasy teams for years. Health is the biggest concern by far. If he falls late, yeah. If the run of QBs is done and he's one of the last ones, yeah. But, man, in a dynasty startup draft, like he is tough to draft and trust,
Yeah, I don't think you can trust him at all. I do think the upside is tremendous with him, though. Like, if he plays 12, 14 games, he's going to be a fucking beast pretty much every single game.
Absolutely.
He's very safe. But I wouldn't be surprised if he played 16 games. I wouldn't be surprised if his back got broken 3 games into the season.
And he plays right. And that's exactly how I feel too, because the juice is probably worth the squeeze when you draft him, because if he is healthy, you're getting a stud at an incredible discount. So very health dependent, but I love Stafford. He's beast. He's beast.
Yeah.
I wish him nothing but health and happiness. And
I think he's one of those guys that is going to end up being a guy that they talk about going into the Hall of Fame, but he just had no help around him. Like Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson, yeah.
That motherfucker retired on him. He just said, fuck it, I'm out. And Matt Stafford is just one of those guys that's a very good quarterback, and I actually kind of feel bad for him because he deserves much more than he has gotten. No one praises
100%.
him. No one likes him.
No one does. And people literally, like you're saying, don't realize how good he's been his whole career. Calvin Johnson, yeah, probably the best receiver of our generation, I would say. But that's it. That's it.
They don't bring in anything to help him. Like
Marvin Jones.
His wide receivers are okay now. Got Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones. They're okay, but like
they're okay. His offensive line's never been good. He's never had a running game, or at least they've never had a running game that they've committed to. So he's dealt with every adversity under the sun, and he's still been a beast.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to be picking Matthew Stafford late in the draft, but like we've been talking about, just be careful because I might need to get a doctor on here to analyze fucking Matthew Stafford to tell me if he's going to be okay or not, but I think he'll be okay. So
I hope so. I hope so.
I hope so too. Now, the next guy we're going to talk about here is from my favorite team, the Miami Dolphins, and his name is Preston Williams. Now, I assume some people who are watching this video may have no idea who the fuck Preston Williams is. I mean, you're watching a Dynasty video, so you're probably just as much of a fantasy addict as all of us, so you probably know who he is, but he's played 8 games in 2019. He had an 84.6% snap share in 2019, only 4% in the slot. He had 60 total targets, which is about 7.5 per game, per game with Fitzmagic in 2019. He only had 32 receptions, which was about 4 a game. In 2019, he had over 420 receiving yards, which was about 53.5 per game. He had 3 total touchdowns, 9.4% rate, and 11.4 points per game in PPR in 2019. Notice how he played 8 games and scored 3 touchdowns, and Leonard Fournette scored 3 touchdowns in like 16 games. That is just how crazy the NFL is.
Insane what the NFL is. It's
Okay.
insane.
Do you have any thoughts on Preston Williams?
I like Preston Williams a lot. Before he got hurt, he was absolutely balling.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the offense with Fitzmagic and Devontae Parker balling out again. There was just a good chemistry there. Do we know? You would tell us better. Is Tua going to be the starting quarterback next year? Is he sitting a year? What?
I assume he sits, and like I think the only shot he gets in is if Fitzmagic gets hurt, because I don't fucking like Rosen at all anymore. I think I'm out on Rosen.
I totally forgot about that kid.
Yeah, no, it's Fitzmagic, Rosen, and it'll be Tua there, I believe. So I think maybe they let Tua play, and especially if we're just doing shit, maybe at the end of the year they throw him in for like a game or two. But if we're doing okay, and because Fitzmagic is always one of those guys who's like he's hot as fuck.
Keep you in it.
He's hot year 1, and then he kind of decreases year 2 in whatever system he joins. But I still think he's going to be hot. He was riding on fire towards the end of the year. He was fucking defenses up like left and right. It was crazy. And
dude, he was a fantasy winner.
He literally was. And
he was a fantasy winner.
He's a guy who I also think you could draft late in the draft and will return value for 1 year.
100%. If you're like in it for this year, 100%.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that Preston Williams has immense talent. Now, he's not going to be the wide receiver 1 on the Dolphins, but you don't draft some guy in the 12th round who's a wide receiver 1 on most teams. Preston Williams could be a wide receiver 1 potentially if Devontae Parker went down, but I think Preston Williams' skill set is just fine being the wide receiver 2. He's never going to draw a guy like Stephon Gilmore, any of those elite corners on any of those teams. Stephon Gilmore is not really that elite. Devontae Parker fucked him up. But with that said, I think that Preston Williams definitely has the talent if he does play 16 games to hit over 1,000 yards. Now, the one thing that worries me is he's either torn both of his ACLs once or the same ACL twice, which is not that good. I'm not a doctor. Like I said, I'm not some type of medical genius. Raph, I saw that his knees or wherever your ACL is fucked. But it's okay because he's going to come back next year. He's going to be amazing. I really trust in Preston Williams. I think that the Dolphins are probably okay yet again. You don't really need the team to be amazing for your fantasy players. A lot of people think, oh, you got to draft a player on an amazing team. No, you don't. You could draft some guy on some sorry-ass team, and he could still be good. So,
big facts. That's what fantasy is about. And I will say, your inner Dolphin fan came out right there in your expression for Preston Williams, which I love to see. But no, he's a very good receiver. If he could stay healthy, those knees don't bark. He makes an absolute electric 1-2 punch with Devontae Parker, especially if Fitzpatrick comes back and they pick up on the chemistry they left off this past year. So I'm very intrigued to see where Preston Williams go, and I'm taking a big flyer. I'll sign in blood on the flyer I take out on Preston Williams later on in drafts. So give him to me. I'm with you.
Give him to me as well. I have Dan Marino sitting back there above my fish tank and my fantasy Super Bowl trophy. He's chilling there. He watches over me every single night. The Dolphins are going to be not that good next year. I just need to preface this. I'm a Dolphins fan. I don't think they're going to be amazing. I think the future is bright if we draft Tua, and the future for Preston Williams may be very bright with Tua over the next couple of years if he is the quarterback. If it's Herbert, I'm scared. If it's anyone else, that's not Tua, unless it's Big Dick Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow as well. But it's not going to be Joe Burrow because the Bengals are going to draft him. But
yeah. Well, I will say, just outside of like fantasy perspective, as a Dolphins fan, you should be pretty damn happy. They are in a very good direction. That team should not have been competitive in any games whatsoever, and they were in a lot of them, almost all of them, essentially. If they can land a Tua and Tua stays healthy, and he's the Tua that we know, they're set up for the next decade.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Under Flores' watch, I just be patient. I know it's been your whole life. You haven't seen the success you want to yet, but it's coming. They're in the right direction. So
this draft is going to be very important for us.
Big draft. This is huge.
If we can get Tua and a guy like Dobbins in the second round, one of those top-tier running backs, a guy like Taylor may even fall to the second round, I would literally just cream in my pants. There would be There's going to be no way I can function for a couple of weeks because it'll just be so beautiful.
I wouldn't blame you. I would not blame you. Don't you have 2 first-round picks too?
3.
So what you do is, worst case, you trade up to get to it. If you have to, use one of them, and use the other one on a tackle. I think you should use that on the offensive line.
Yeah, we have picks 5, I think 18 and 20 something. I did a mock draft on my channel. You can check it out. It has 3,000 views. It sucks. It sucks. I don't know shit about college football. I just knew that if I made a video, people would watch it. So I made it. And then I get a bunch of comments. This kid's a fucking idiot. No shit. I said at the beginning, I'm not a genius. I don't know how to pronounce half these guys' names, but it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. People watched it.
Well, see, now I have to go back and watch it now.
Exactly. You should tell you guys should do a fucking mock draft, because even if you don't know shit, people still watch it.
The people still gonna watch it, right?
Exactly. Now onto the final guy of the video, and then we are gonna.
The guy, I want to talk about,
Okay, and then we're gonna go a bit, maybe after this we might go for like 5 more minutes talking about some other guys, but this is the last guy for this portion of the video where we're gonna be talking about guys that personally I really like. So you can read his name off here.
David Montgomery.
Now, David Montgomery is a guy that many people loved last season. Many people were creaming in their pants to draft him in the 4th round.
Big time.
And that guy, the only cream was on your face by David Montgomery and Matt Nagy, because Matt Nagy blew a load all over your face. You can't see. Okay, David Montgomery, 16 games in 2019. As a rookie, that's pretty good. He played every single game. He was banged up that one game, and Tariq Cohen got a lot of the snaps, but that's okay. 57.9% snap share in 2019, 17th amongst the running back position, 59.4 opportunity share, which ranks 21st in the NFL. Team run plays per game, they were 21st in the NFL. 242 total carries, which is about 15 per game, which ranks number 13 in the NFL. 889 rushing yards, which is about 55 per game. 35 targets, which is about 2 a game. 25 receptions, which is about 1.6 per game, which ranks 41st in the NFL. So he's not much of a pass-catching back at all, because they have Tariq Cohen. 185 receiving yards, which is about 11 per game, and 10.6 PPR points per game in 2019. But that number does not tell you at all what having David Montgomery was like. David Montgomery would score like 2 touchdowns in a game and like destroy a team. And then the next week, Matt Nagy puts his visor on. It covers his eyes when he's watching the film. And he's like, oh, shit, who's David Montgomery? Let me hand the ball to – who was that other guy? What's that wide receiver? Cordero Patterson. Let me give him the ball 30 times. Fuck you, Cordero Patterson. David Montgomery was actually pretty solid last year. His numbers will not tell you that. People are very off of David Montgomery. I don't know a single person that thinks David Montgomery is good anymore. They fucked – just like Austin Eckler fucked you, David Montgomery fucked everyone. He fucked me. I had him in like 5 leagues, but I still love him. I don't hold too much of a grudge against David Montgomery. I don't like Matt Nagy, but that's besides the fact. What do you think about David Montgomery?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with everything there. Everybody was so in love with him going into the draft, like in love with him. You were one of those guys. I was kind of on the fence. Towards draft night, I started to love him more and more and more, because everything you read and everything you watched last year, like the year before with the Bears system with Nagy, was like, holy shit, Montgomery couldn't be more perfect for an offensive system if it tried. So where Nagy went wrong in trying to make Trubisky an actual like a Tom Brady or a Joe Montana, just fucked everything up. Montgomery has the talent. Clearly, we know that. We know he needs those opportunities more than he got last year. I am a fan of the talent. I am not going to be he's going to slide, which is great.
Yeah, he slides very far back.
For Montgomery believers like you, I'm a Montgomery believer. He's going to slide. So the more he slides, the better for us. If I'm getting Montgomery at the value we can get him at, as opposed to the 3rd or 4th round like last year, in the 6th or 7th, holy shit. I sound like my cock. Are you kidding me? Like that's exactly what you want. That kind of value and not let it around for a talent like that.
Yeah, the funniest thing, though, is like looking back where people are telling you, oh, David Montgomery, he's got the vision of a guy like Adrian Peterson or LaDainian Tomlinson. They say he's got the legs of this guy, this, that, and the other thing. They say he's the super back, and then he doesn't do shit because Matt Nagy is a fucktard, okay? I can't stand Matt Nagy.
No, he really is.
He's a dumbass. But I think that when you talked about Mitch Trubisky was hilarious. Mitch Trubisky, to me, is just like Jimmy Garoppolo, where a lot of people ride Mitch Trubisky's dick. Like, if you're a fan of the Bears, I guess before this season, now you probably hate him, but before the season, people were riding Mitch Trubisky. They were thinking, Mitch Trubisky is okay. He's not that bad. He put on a clinic against some team a year ago when it was fucking snowing in the Bears stadium, and he just balled out of control and he looked amazing. And then people continue to think that. Same thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. People think Jimmy Garoppolo has talent. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have an ounce of talent in his body. He's a sexy motherfucker. He looks amazing. But besides that, fuck you, Jimmy Garoppolo. You're shit too. So
when I tell you, you couldn't be more right about everything you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, you couldn't be more right about everything you just said. That was so spot on, and I couldn't agree more, especially the Jimmy G part, because the man is a sexy man. Listen, I'm going to be a 27-year-old in a month, and I will tell you right now, that is one handsome dude.
Exactly.
But he sucks at being a quarterback.
Yeah, he's a man rocket.
He really is. He is. He's a man rocket. Mitch Trubisky is an awful quarterback. Awful. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. He's an awful quarterback. And the Bears had last year's success was such – oh, God, the false hope that they had that year is so bad.
Yeah,
because
their defense fell too, it seems like, right? They were the defense people were talking about in fantasy. Oh, let me draft this defense in the 10th round. I told everyone, don't be a fucking idiot. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And then every draft you're in, I mean, maybe not your drafts because you're drafting with some more sharp people, unlike myself. I'm drafting with a bunch of my idiot friends. But they watch my videos now, so I'm pretty much fucked, but it's okay. But like I'm saying, like a lot of people were just really on Mitch Trubisky, think he was good. They were thinking the defense was good, and it all just collapsed right in front of them. The only bright spot of the Bears offense is probably Montgomery and Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson succeeds with Blake Bortles, who's not that good. Blake Bortles is better than Mitch Trubisky, though, and Mitch Trubisky.
He is. And it's funny because you put Allen Robinson with a good quarterback, and he's an unbelievable talent. And I wish that was the case, but it's not. And the Bears suck, and I have no remorse for them because I hate the Bears and I hate every NFC team that's not the Giants. So
okay. All right, now we're just going to do a quick exercise here at the end. It's like we're at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. We're going to do some exercises here. So this is the buy or hold exercise. I made a whole video about it if you guys want to check that out. But this is going to be a shorter one, just a couple of guys here. So what do you think? I'm going to bring up actually a guy that I know that you don't like. Odell Beckham Jr. Would you buy him? Would you sell him? Would you fucking burn him at the stake? What do you think about Odell?
The latter.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Burn him at the stake.
Fuck Odell. I don't like him either.
Fuck Odell. Bias aside, it's an interesting case. I really want to see. I'd hold him for now for this year, but then you might lose your window. So it's a tough case because you don't know what Baker is going to bounce back with Stefanski as head coach. You don't know how that offense is going to be, but you know the talent Odell is. So right now, I hold Beckham.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'd hold him. He's probably, I'm making a rankings video for Dynasty. He's a top 12 Dynasty receiver, but he's a guy that I don't trust in the slightest. He's a guy that he'll go punch the fucking, whatever that thing was called, the net. He punches that. He goes do some cocaine with some strippers. He goes on a boat. He's a fucking idiot, but he is a talent, so I would definitely hold him. Now, the next guy here is a guy, one of my favorite guys, and his name is Ryan Tannehill. I loved him as a young man. I still love him now. He carried the Titans to the AFC Championship game. Do you like Ryan Tannehill? Would you try to buy him, or would you just hold him? Or sell him?
Probably a hold for me. I more so sell if I had to choose, because I think it was a perfect storm for Tannehill this year. I don't know how long that lasts, and do we even know if he's still on the Titans?
I think he does.
Granted, I think so too, 100%. But in this video that we're talking right now, in this day and point, there's the Tom Brady rumors and stuff like that. But if he's back on the Titans and Henry's back and they bring the whole band back, I still probably sell. You could probably get more than you could for him if he starts slumping in the beginning of the season. So I sell Tanny now. But if you hold on to him, I can't get mad. If you're in a super flex and you need him, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I agree. He's either a sell or a hold. There's no way you can buy him because right now his value is at the tippy top. Even though in the playoffs he didn't eclipse 100 yards in the first two games, But even with that, he was balling out. Fucking Derrick Henry threw a touchdown. Mike Vrabel almost had to cut his cock off. He said he would cut his dick off
Yeah,
in the Super Bowl. Now, maybe that happens next year. I don't know. Derrick Henry wants the amount of money Zeke got. He wants all the money in the world. I don't think Derrick Henry deserves that. I know Max would oppose that, but I don't like him. I don't really like Derrick Henry. I don't like Max either. That was the joke, but
I got it. Don't worry.
but I love Max. Just kidding. But I think that Ryan Tannehill will be a guy that definitely has a lot of talent, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just completely shit the bed next season too, if I'm being honest with you. Tannehill is very
That's my biggest
on or
fear.
off.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. And like I was saying, he literally came out of nowhere this year. Nowhere. I don't want to say came out of nowhere. Mariota's like that terrible. So anything compared to Mariota is good. But Tannehill played really well. Literally played the best ball of his 6-year career by far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing
is that what he is? I think that's more of a mirage than that is what he is. You know what I mean?
He's shown flashes in, I believe it was 2016 when we made the playoffs and we got absolutely butt fucked by the Steelers. Like Antonio Brown caught like a 1,000-yard touchdown on the first play, but that doesn't matter. Ryan Tannehill got hurt that season, and he was looking like Carson Wentz before Carson Wentz got hurt. He was having that kind of a season. He was looking like he could be the Dolphins' Lord and Savior, baby Jesus for the team. But no, he ended up getting hurt, and then we have Matt Moore, and then we get bent over in Pittsburgh in the playoffs. But I think Ryan Tannehill does have the talent. The injury definitely also concerns me. He only played a couple of games last year, so it's harder to get injured when you're only playing – how many games? 12 games, something like that.
12 games, yeah. 12, 13, whatever it was.
Yeah. So
I think it was 12 or 11, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Ryan Tannehill was definitely a solid guy. I think I'd probably, like you said, sell him. I think I'm on the sell train now.
Yeah, that's where I'd go if I had to pick.
Okay. Now, the next guy to bring up here is a guy that I don't know if you like him or not. He's on a team that I know that you despise. He's on the Washington Redskins. His name is Terry McLaurin. What are you thinking about Scary Terry, F1 Terry, whatever the fuck people call him?
I unfortunately love Terry. I do. I unfortunately love Terry. I think he's just like kind of the football player I love. Tough as nails, good route runner, gets open, makes his QB's life easier. I don't have the stats in front of me, but that guy was an absolute monster. I worried about when Haskins came in, and in the beginning, that was a little tough. They didn't click right away, even though they played in college. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
I also don't think Haskins is that good, so that scares me a lot. If I'm Washington, I strongly consider – I know you don't want to hear it – I strongly consider taking Tua.
Oh, no, they are. I was listening to ESPN earlier, and they're like, fuck
right?
Chase Young. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would strongly consider taking Tua. I don't think Haskins is that good at all. And I'm the same asshole who wanted the Giants to draft him at 6 last year.
Oh, I wanted the Dolphins to draft him as well.
Yeah, it's like, but you see it now. Like, the NFL speed does not look like it translates to him. But either way, I'm in on Terry. Could be like one of those DeAndre Hopkins type. Not comparing him to DeAndre Hopkins. I'm saying D-Hop before Watson came in there was getting the ball thrown to him by quarterbacks. That
Brock Osweiler.
Brock Osweiler, right, exactly. Tom Savage, whoever the fuck they were.
Yeah.
And he still performed. I think Terry can perform under anything because he's a good route runner. He's fast. Dude does all these intangibles well to get open, get the ball, run after to catch everything. So
yeah, exactly. Like you said,
I can't believe I just talk so highly of a rival like that. But yes, I love Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, like you said, like you could literally put me or you in at the quarterback position, and like if he's standing 10 yards away, we could probably throw the ball to him too. Maybe even more accurate than Dwayne Haskins. Now, during the season, I was calling him Dwayne Trash Can Hash Cans because he's garbage. He fucking sucks. I mean, that's a shitty nickname. I know it's not that funny, but he's pretty bad. And the offensive line is pretty bad too. So that does kind of weigh in to me how good a guy is because the line kind of sucks.
I agree with that 100%. The line. However, and as a Giants fan, I may look biased. I am biased either way, but you could say it from a football fan outside of the Dolphins yourself. Daniel Jones had a worse offensive line, and he was 20 times better than Dwayne Haskins. So at a certain point, maybe the talent, and I think it's more of a head game too.
Mental.
Right, exactly. Like processing the NFL speed and everything like that. It's completely different from college. And I think like DJ got that way quicker than Haskins did, and maybe Haskins doesn't get it. We'll see.
Yeah. So to be fair, though, Daniel Jones has like 9 times better receivers than the Redskins do. Like besides fucking McLaurin, they suck.
It's fair. That's definitely fair. But he also played without Barkley for 5 games,
Mhm.
without Shepard for games, all these other guys. Even still, without them, he still had better options. Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
But he also had a 20 times worse offensive line.
Mhm.
So it's like the fine line. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Either
Either
way,
way, that's that. We don't talk about it.
yeah,
I
exactly.
don't want to talk about him.
Regardless of Haskins or not, McLaurin is a very good talent, in my
Yes.
opinion. He was balling out of control. He was scoring touchdowns where the Redskins shouldn't even be scoring a touchdown. He just scores. He's the only reason why they scored probably in every single game. He was that good, and he's a guy that I think for the future could be amazing. He's very young. Obviously, he was a rookie last season. So,
Yeah.
all
Big
right.
facts.
Now we got two guys left here. This guy's an old man, in my opinion, and that's Zach Ertz. Now, Zach Ertz is
He's
a guy
very old.
that I hate. I hate Zach Ertz with a burning passion. I've never liked Zach Ertz. I didn't like him last year. Everyone was riding him. He's the tight end number 3 in fantasy football. Oh, Zach Ertz is fucking amazing. Zach Ertz sucked ass. It is Dallas Goedert season in Philadelphia. What do you think about Zach Ertz? I just realized I brought up another guy from the NFC East. So what do you think?
Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I couldn't agree more. Ertz had an unbelievable second half of the year this past year, but that's Goddard's team all day. He's the future there. Ertz, while playing every game, still banged up. You know, I give him credit. The guy's tough as nails. He was playing like a fractured rib, whatever it was. He's tough as nails, but he's not the future in Philly.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Dallas is at tight end, so I'm off the Zach Ertz train.
I agree.
If you're watching this video now and you have Ertz in Dynasty, I would try and sell him immediately.
Yeah, the only way you could possibly want him is if you think you could win this season, because I think maybe
100%.
next year or the season after, you're going to see Goddard was like down here. Ertz is up here, Goddard's here, and then slowly it was like creeping up like this. But I think in 2 seasons, it'll be Goddard over Ertz, or Ertz is just dead. He's fucking retired.
100%. 100%. If you think you can win this year, then yeah, Ertz is fine. If not, try and bag him.
Yeah, I'm very off of Philadelphia Eagles players. I mean, like, he's literally the only receiver on the team besides Goddard, it seems like. And I hate Carson Wentz. I don't know how anyone likes that guy. I think he's an injury-prone, sorry-ass quarterback. So,
Nick, preach.
Exactly.
Preach.
He sucks. I don't know how anyone likes him. 9-inch Nick Foles would be the better option.
Facts.
Okay, last guy to talk about here. I know we talked about him
off.
a bit earlier in the video, and that is Kenyon Drake. Would you buy him at the price? You selling him or you holding him? What do you think?
I'm probably holding him. I think it's a difficult spot. He was phenomenal with Arizona. And for all intents and purposes, David Johnson's getting cut, right? You hear that, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gone.
So Kenyon Drake steps right in there if they sign him, right? I think he's a free agent. But why wouldn't they sign him? And in a Cliff Kingsbury offense with a Kyler Murray that I think they take the next jump next year as an offense, he takes the next jump. Maybe he's like a Lamar Jackson, and maybe that Kenyon Drake is like a Mark Ingram, but more versatile. I'm holding on to him. I'm buying Kenyon Drake, actually.
Oh, okay.
I cannot believe I'm saying this. You know Kenyon Drake from Miami, so you know he's got talent.
Yeah.
It's
I know
the
he's
offense.
good.
He's good. For me, it's all offensive system and everything. It depends. I'm holding it for now with the reservation of buying.
Okay.
That window might close, but I do think Kyler takes a jump to the next level in year 2, and I think Kingsbury gets more of an idea of how to call an offensive game in year 2, and I think that only helps Kenyon Drake out even more than it did the last part of the year last year. So I'm in on Kenyon Drake, and I cannot believe I'm even saying those words.
Yeah, I'm also very in on Kenyon Drake. I've been in on him since the Miami Miracle. That was an amazing play. I can't stand the Patriots.
Wow,
that was beautiful.
I lost a bet on that day.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
That's
But it was
okay.
amazing.
That's okay.
But I think that Kenyon Drake, his value, I don't even think has reached the top. Right now, could potentially be his top if David Johnson somehow comes back. But if Kenyon Drake, he has the potential to literally be a top 5 running back next season.
Easily. Dude, easily. That's the crazy part.
He is such good talent. He literally gets the ball a zillion fucking times on that team. He gets the ball, seems like, I don't even know. He was scoring so many touchdowns in every single game at the end of the year. It was crazy. He was like, he looked like he was reborn or something. It was crazy.
No joke. Literally looked like he was reborn. And he just excuse me, he just turned 26, so he's not that old, and he doesn't have that much mileage on him.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you not taking this guy? I'm going out there and I'm buying him. I wanted to reserve my buy window for him, but the more we talk about it, the more he can absolutely crush in that offense. And the more I think about how good I think that offense is going to be, the more I want Kenyon Drake shares.
Exactly. Like you were saying before, though, like if Kyler Murray starts running the ball more, like Kyler Murray wasn't running all that much last season till towards the end. He was kind of not using his legs. But if he's running the ball more, then maybe Kenyon Drake, they're doing more plays where it seems like Kyler's going to run and then fucking Kenyon Drake runs, kind of like what they do in Baltimore, like you said. So I really like Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's a good coach. I think that the Arizona team just looks better next year. They need an offensive line that is slightly better. They have an older wide receiver. Well, they don't have an old wide receiver core. Larry Fitzgerald just makes them seem older. But Christian Kirk should be much better this year. So I think that the Arizona team is on the up and up. And I think that Kenyon Drake may smash straight through the ceiling. He's an amazing player to me. And I think that he is definitely a buy for me.
100% agreed. I'm with you.
All right. Thank you, Snacks, for coming on. We're going to end the video here. Thank you very much for coming. Check out everything in the description for Snacks. You can shout anything out right now.
Listen, I'm just happy to be here. Nick, you're the absolute man. We have some good chemistry going on and love being a part of this. So anytime you want to go over and do a video again, count me in. So I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you guys for listening.
All right. Thank you very much to Snacks. Again, like I said, check out everything for him in the description. Check out the episode of Fade the Public. Today's Thursday as this comes out. So tomorrow, check that out. Have a great rest of your fucking day. Make sure to tell your loved ones that you love them because, someday they could be gone. You never know. So tell them when you love them. Have a blessed rest of your day. God bless New Jersey. Goodbye.